So you might be wondering why I'm having a look at this computer here, this Jeep GPX Hero GTX 1050 gaming PC with the Ryzen and everything like that at $1,000, and you know, I'm looking at this comment here. I highly recommend this playing Fortnite, League, Overwatch, all above at 60 FPS and looks cool. From Zoo. It's a 5-star. This guy, this man or woman, I'm not sure what gender that is, I don't want to assume. We're looking basically at a person who's saying that this $1,000 computer, I'm going to stop bumping the mic now, can actually run all of these games at over 60 frames. And see, we're looking at the PC Gamer, what does it say here? We've got ourselves, for 30 FPS, we need at least a 460 GTX. We're looking at this is a minimum, 4 gigabytes of system RAM. Storage, a HDD with 5 gigabytes of HD space. And recommended for 60 FPS on medium settings, you've got yourself 2 gigs of VRAM. So effectively that's a 1050, a GTX 1050, even though it says GTX 660. 6 gigabytes of system RAM, and you can still have it on an HDD. And so you might be thinking, okay, Overwatch, alright, so what about League of Legends? Minimum system requirements for League of Legends. We've got 2 gigahertz processor, 1 gigabyte of RAM, 1 gigabytes of RAM, 8 gigabytes available hard disk space. Screen resolutions up to 920. Okay, yep, good. Great, recommended though. We need at least a 3 gigahertz processor, 2 gigs of RAM. I'm assuming this is a quad core. 12 gigabytes hard drive space, so it's a bit beefier. Oh no, maybe not, I don't know. Oh, you don't need as much GPU, so it's a bit more CPU intensive. And it runs with anything here. Optimal hardware suggestions. A 3 gigahertz dual core processor. Oh my goodness, memory. Recommended 4 gigs of RAM. 12 gigs of hard drive space. And we're not going to go on to that. I suppose the final game here, Fortnite. Minimum. We got here, Fortnite Royale system requirements. Minimum is an i3 2.4 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, Intel HD 400. The recommended here is GTX 660 or an HGN, so they're all about the same amount. They're all about the GTX 660 as the minimum. About 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, so say we were to start up a new thing. A new notepad list, right? Specs for gaming with, what's that, with Fortnite, Overwatch, and League. Alright, cool. So we're going for a CPU, we're looking for about 3 gigahertz, right? It's about 3 gigahertz CPU, and this is for 60 frames. We're not talking 90, 120, 144, like some of the more, I guess, the more exclusive pro gamers might want. RAM at 8 gigs, we've got our storage is basically an 872 RPM SSD. We've got a graphics card, that's a 660. GTX 660. I know there was a AMD Radeon version, but I'm not too worried about that point in time. We'll just stick with Nvidia. It's simple. I don't have a personal preference. I'm liking the fact there's really cheap 580s out at the moment. I'd buy a 580 if I hadn't already bought a 1080. So minimum, we need ourselves a 3 gigahertz quad core processor. We need an 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'm assuming that's going to be DDR4. Doesn't say, but let's just go with that. Let's just say a minimum of 2400. Storage of 7200 RPM SSD. Oh no, that's an HDD, sorry. What am I doing? HDD. SSDs don't have to stop. I know that I made a mistake there, okay? But we're getting an SSD anyways, okay? We're gonna put that on our build because today we are gonna build a PC if you want to play Fortnite, Overwatch, or League. And we're not going to do minimum specs because if you're doing 30 frames per second on League of Legends, you're having a bad time. You're having a very bad time. We can do better than this, alright? And we're going to use a site called New Zealand Power Picker to be able to do this. So there's a New Zealand Power Picker, or there's also a Pirate Picker if you go Pirate Picker. Just in general, There you go. Let's make a system build, okay? Ignore this one. This is when I was trialing. You can see there maybe we should just pick a CPU. And so with this website, in case you weren't aware, we can just pick a CPU. Like, I don't know, there's a shit ton of CPUs here. And as a first time builder, because this is aimed at first time builders. Because, you see, I'm looking at the kind of people who would think that this is a good deal. And I'm not saying it's not, like, it's a good deal. It's better price than what you could buy. But the thing is, we are looking for a workable model. A model that will get you 60 frames, but also the aim of this video is to get you a computer that will future-proof you at least for a couple of years. So if you want to upgrade your PC in like a year's time because you want to play the next big game that's more graphically intense than Fortnite, I'd recommend sticking with this. Alright? So we're gonna stay here, we're gonna get rid of that, we're gonna pick a CPU, alright? We need a 3 gigahertz quad core CPU, but you know what? I think we can do better than that. I think we can go for one of these. A 1600. Or if we're gonna be if we're gonna be right to the nail of it, let's just go for a 2400, okay? This is good. It's a 3.6 gigahertz quad core. You could go for a much faster Intel one, like a 7700K if you wanted to, but I'm going for a Ryzen because I roll with Ryzens personally, okay? They're good processors, the 2400. I actually have a 1700 because I prefer the octa-core for my processing and stuff, but if you're just gaming, a quad core will be fine. Let's assume for an instant that we are just wanting to use air cooling because we just need to have something that will keep our computer cool, alright? We're gonna choose memory, we're gonna choose maybe 8 gigs. 8 gigs here, so you can choose either 2x4 or maybe 1. So I'm just gonna get 1 stick of RAM because I might want to go up to 32 gigs of RAM at some point. We're gonna go with the, what are we gonna go with? We're gonna do the prices. We're gonna go ratings, actually. Where are the ratings? Here, so we got crucial 2150. We'll have a minimum of 2400. That's what we were talking about before. Here we go, cool. So we're gonna go with 153. Yep, that's fine. And so there's a black one. See, so we've got a cooler. And in case you weren't aware, we've got a CPU. We've got something to keep the CPU cool, because you need that in a PC. We've got some RAM. So we've already covered our minimum specs basically for CPU and RAM, okay? We need a motherboard to stick all this into. I'm just gonna pick a very basic one. We're gonna go with this one here. It's gonna say it has issues, and that's because, for one, this is an older motherboard. So you're gonna need to do a BIOS update, which is another kettle of fish. If you don't want to get a BIOS update, just get like, you know, we don't even need to get a 2400. I don't even see why we're going with that. Let's go back. Let's go back and get like a 1600 or a 1400. This is fine. Let's get a 1400. There we go, no issues. So it's completely fine. And the compatibility check here is that the cooler for the CPU needs to get a special fitting. It may need it, but you can always check with a place like PBTech or MyApp or whatever kind of PC place you're talking about. Because you see these prices, you can just go, you can click on this, and you can just see that there are places where you can buy them from. And if you click on like Paradigm PCs, for example, it'll show it and you can just buy it. I actually have one of these. They're not bad, but I would personally rather just roll with like the 370 board I've got at the moment. So at the moment we've got a motherboard, we've got our CPU and RAM specs covered. We need storage, okay? Now, if you're building your very first computer, you might want to boot up in a reasonable amount of time, and that's not really gonna happen with a hard drive. Just using a hard drive is not gonna cover it. I'd honestly recommend, if you're into gaming, you would probably be better off getting a 2 terabyte hard drive like a Barracuda, because then you've just got a separate external drive or internal drive that you can put all your photos and videos on or whatever. It's really good if you've just got a shit ton of cell phone videos that you want to take off and you don't really want to have as a part of it. I suppose we could go for a 250 gig SSD there, although I wouldn't recommend it. I'd actually recommend going for the 970 500 gig, which I know is a bit more expensive, but what this means is that you've got enough space, more than enough space to install you can install Fortnite or any of these games on your actual SSD and experience benefits. But like, let's just say, for example, you're only playing games. You're not really installing too much and you're just playing video games. So we'd go back to this Evo. This is an this is a special kind of SSD drive that plugs straight into the front of your motherboard. It's really, really nice, really clever technology. It's insanely fast, and it means really fast boot times. There you go, beautiful. Lots and lots of 5 stars. And by the way, I am only picking 5-star stuff because I think that it's worth doing that. But yeah, so at the moment with our system build, you can see there it's already $898. This is NZD, by the way, so don't panic. Again, this is New Zealand dollars. If you're anywhere else, just remember to convert it before you get like, oh, this is overpriced. This will so far, excluding a video card, more than play Fortnite. This will do a lot of different things. You might see here that this is only 3.2. It goes up to 3.4. I would personally go for a 1600 or a 1700, but like, you know, it's what you want. You could also go for like another one of these, what is it, CPU? You could also go for like an Intel build where you do use, where is it? Because I've got it by ratings. Where are the aimed? Oh, it's because I've got I understand, never mind. So what this does is it decides what kind of motherboard you got, and then it gives you a CPU that's relevant to the motherboard. But you can see there'll be 7700Ks and stuff like that for Intel processors that you can use if you want. And so for the video card, I'd recommend just getting something with, because this is really important, again with this one, the 1050 has 2 gigs of VRAM, right? 2 gigs of VRAM. But we're going, how much does a GTX 1060 have? There we go, so it's got 2 megabytes of memory. Okay, so it's DDR5, that's cool. When I look at this, I think, okay, 2. But I'd actually honestly recommend 4. I'd recommend future-proofing yourself by getting 4. So that's either a 1050 Ti, or you can get yourself a 1060 6 gig, okay? And so you got a lot of options here. I'm gonna go with this EVGA down here, the 1060 and the 1050 Ti, 4 gigs of RAM. This will keep you going for quite a while. It is a blower card, but like if you're using medium settings anyways, you'll be fine. Maybe you don't want it to make any sound at all though. So what you would probably do in that case is get rid of that. You would probably get rid of that, and you would probably find yourself a double fan 1050 Ti, which is MSI 1050 for gaming. Yep, that's fine. It seems weird to see what, because I have a 1080 version of this and it's ridiculous, but the 1050 Ti looks alright as well. And what you've got here is you've spent $1,200 on a computer that will keep you going for quite a while. Like, this is minimum specs covered. Medium to high, if you've got 4 gigs of VRAM, you're gonna have a whole bunch more FPS than if you had that 1050, and it won't, even if there's like a little bit of clinch on the CPU, the video card will catch up. And I mean, like, look, you've also got a hell of a fast boot time, you've got a shit ton of storage, this will keep you going, and you should have one of the best air coolers on the market at the moment. And you have a motherboard with 3.1s, which is good as well, 3.1 USB. And in terms of a case, fuck, that's a nice tempered glass, yeah, the 400S. I know it's green, but like, you can get the LEDs done different colors. You know, it's $159. And a power supply, basically, because if you have a look at this, you generally want to double that. So you'd probably want about a 500 watt power supply. So you go to this, and yeah, you have this, which appears to be the best one. It's 450, but that'll keep you going for a while. Yeah, see, that's 80 plus, so that means it's good for 80% of the total wattage. So that's about 360 if you're not overclocking, and you're at 255, you got 105 watts of headroom. So you're good to go. You're really good to go. I suppose if you want a Windows as well, you could buy Windows here. To summarize, this is what you need in order to play Overwatch comfortably. To play these games comfortably. You get literally 2.5 times as much storage. Nearly 2.5 times as much storage. You get a video card that's twice as powerful. You get this for $700 more, and the computer, just because it's got lower gigahertz, you're not going to notice it if you're gaming. You're not gonna notice it if you got a fixed FPS rate. Like, what kind of graphics card? Because a gigabyte GeForce. Yes, that's fine too. I don't even know why I made this video. I guess it's just frustrating to me. Because I guess another point is, why would you even spend $1,700 on a PC just to play Fortnite and Overwatch? And the answer is because you shouldn't just be buying a computer to play Overwatch. You can play it on the Switch. You can play it on Xbox. I wouldn't recommend playing it on PlayStation because Sony are being twats about the whole cross-play thing, but you don't need to play it on a PC. But if you are, here's the thing: if you're deciding to play it on a PC, do it for the same reason I do, which is playing it because on the Switch you've got the settings about medium. You got the settings about medium. If that's medium on a Nintendo Switch, how do you think it is going to be on a fucking gigabyte graphics card? Because I want to just take a moment to have a look at it. How much VRAM Nintendo Switch? How much VRAM? GPU speeds. That's cool. 768. Well, how much VRAM does it have? I don't feel like you're going to get higher speeds without a build like this. Because why would you want to run Fortnite at a medium quality when you could just buy a Switch for that? Is it because you want to play Overwatch as well? Well, you can play Overwatch on a PlayStation. Oh, sorry, can you play Overwatch on Xbox? Yeah, you can. You can play it on Xbox. You may as well. But then I guess it's League, isn't it? And then if you want League, you may as well just buy yourself a laptop. You don't need to buy this. Don't buy this. Don't do it, because this is not future-proofing yourself. 2 gigs of RAM, especially when the new gen DDR6 cards from Nvidia are going to have like 8 to 16 as minimum. It's a slippery slope. I don't get anything out of this apart from you listening. If you want a PC that will run these games properly, use this. The setup is fantastic. It'll also be a really fantastic piece to use. In fact, because this is just perfect. You can just plug this in and it's fine. Anyways, I think I'm done. How long have I been recording for? 24 minutes. Good, this is a good amount of time. Hopefully I can edit it into something coherent, but nah, please, just think about what you're doing. Because when I see people saying that they can play Overwatch and Fortnite and League on this and it looks cool, I don't understand how you even get good quality out of this. I don't know how does this person run 4K films? How do they do that? It doesn't make sense to me. Fortnite with high settings, how do you do that with 2 gigs of VRAM? Maybe you don't even need to make your own PC anymore. Maybe you should just upgrade your computers like you do like iPhones, where you buy a new iPhone each year. Maybe that's what people want. I don't know. But you can do better than this, listeners, okay? Treat yourself. Spend a little bit more and get a computer that'll keep you going for a couple of years. Please.